Mein Montag, mein Hapon, mein Gabi, no matter where you are in the world. Welcome to today's live stream from the office here in Cebu City. That by the title of it, you can kind of figure that Cindy and I just got finished watching a series of movies called Atlas Shrugged. That they were based on a book that Ayn Rand, Aynrand, lady wrote back in the 1957. Uh, and they were done in 2011, 2012, and 2014. And ironically, they kind of mirror politics today. That Ayn Rand had an interesting view that this probably would have been better as one of those live streams from the other the Streamlabs. There we go. That she actually created a philosophy called objectivism that isn't too far off from the conservatism or fundamentalism, fundamentalist Christian. Other than she wasn't terribly religious, but it's kind of an interesting set of movies. That it can be horribly boring. They tried to make them for several years, and finally, a businessman is the one that came through and was able to help create it. That he I'm trying to read through this. I should have read through a lot of this better. That because the other thing too is the cast of characters changed in virtually every one of the movies. The entire box office revenue for all three movies was just under $9 million. The budget for the first movie was 20 million and its gross was only 4. The budget for the second movie was 10 million and its gross was only 3.3 million. The budget for the last movie was 5 million and it only grossed 146 million. So the movies were flops by any measure. That they did not. They were not well received by the critics. Hollywood didn't produce them. That it was a private financer that financed the production of them. And it was a case of an outsider trying to make it a mainstream movie. And I don't ever remember them hitting the theaters. So, were they ever well advertised or anything like that? I doubt it. I really doubt it. It was probably just art house theaters that showed it. And they're not movies that would attract an art house crowd. They are all three on Amazon Prime for free streaming if you're a Prime member. You can rent them for $3.99 if you're not, or you can buy them for $10 each. I'm not 100% sure, but I think you can still get them on DVD. And I'll be the first to admit, as far as a well-made movie, no, they're not. But they are a really cool movie. They do speak a lot about stuff going on today. That's what they make cell phones for there, guy. How you doing today? This is our Philippines. Uh, yeah, you know me. Amazon Prime has an app. There's an app for that. There's an app for that. And Netflix. But and yes, I do watch occasionally on my cell phone. Cindy watches on hers a lot. Uh, so yeah, that when you're sitting in a passenger seat with a trainee, that'd be a good time for watching movies. That's rolling through storms. Where are you at today? That Cindy's not with me. That she is downstairs. She's kind of listening to it more than anything else. She's not feeling terribly well. She's got to struggle a little bit with just mood and emotion, mood issues. Uh, so you'll have to excuse her for not being here today and getting stuck with just me. Sorry. The Oh, isn't that where that? Yeah, isn't that where that hurricane just hit? So that's the kind of, yeah, you are getting, if that's that area, yeah, you are getting hit with some serious rains. That the yeah. Okay, I'm done with the movie. If you get a chance, it's well worth watching. Uh, and in hindsight, I really should have done this one from that. I should have tried the experiment with the Streamlabs one, so I could show a lot more about it, and potentially even show a couple of clips from it. It's actually kind of a cool movie. Uh, the basic premise of it is, yeah, out of hurricanes is usually a better option than the end of the hurricanes. I kind of thought that was, but anyways, unless you're Filipino, then it doesn't matter. Especially where you're from, you get the hurricane of the week up there anyhow. So uh, the basic premise of the movie is the economy has collapsed due to overregulation and government control, and it's continuing to go downhill. A gentleman created a new steel. It's called Atlas Shrugged. That it's parts one, two, and three. Uh, and it's best to suffer through all three parts. And it can be hard to get through all three parts. Cindy and I watch a lot of movies at night in bed on the computer. Uh, oh, and is a completely unrelated side note. We hadn't been able to get Amazon to stream through the uh, VPN. That every time we logged in, it recognized it was being on a VPN and shut it down. Out of dumb curiosity, knowing that there's sometimes difference in browsers, last night I struck up Microsoft Edge, the browser that comes with Windows. I got it, but I never used it for a ton of reasons. Mostly just because I'm really comfortable with Chrome. That I actually switched over to Chrome here a couple years ago, and a while ago, 5, 6 years ago, and got really comfortable with it, and just haven't ever switched back. But the Microsoft Edge browser, because, whether it's because it doesn't have the plugin for the VPN or what, I don't know. The VPN we actually had set up as being in Chicago, but for whatever reason, it was recognized when I logged into Amazon. They sent me a text because it logged in from a new area and all that good stuff, and the Amazon text said it was being requested from California. So I'm not entirely sure, but something to keep in mind if you use ExpressVPN. You might want, if you're having problems with it, you might want to try Microsoft Edge or a different browser. That might help. She actually wrote the book back in 1957, and so I as avid of a reader as I am, I've never read the book. Uh, I'm kind of curious whether or not Kindle has it. I may, if they do, I may buy it off of Kindle and read it. Uh, I'm kind of curious how well the movie followed the book. A lot of times movies don't follow books. I'm sorry to hear that, guy. In that case, I really appreciate you being here. I know what that's like. I seem to remember down in Argyle trying to watch you guys one day and just couldn't do it. It was that bad. But I'm kind of curious how close to the book this actually followed, because some of the stuff uh, that they talked about was actually current events. And so I'm kind of curious how prophetic that she wound up being with some of this stuff. But even back in the late 50s, she was recognizing that government was stepping into business way too much and stepping into people's lives way too much, and wanted more like the founding fathers actually set up the government to be, is something that was there just to keep a little bit of focus and to keep things from getting too out of hand. The federal government, by the founding fathers' original intent, was supposed to be a very loose network and not very strong or powerful, and mainly oversaw disputes between states and international issues when you had to deal, when the states had to deal internationally. But other than that, the federal government was never meant to be a very big or powerful entity. And over the years, that's just changed horribly. And there's been a bunch of times that the feds way overstepped and gotten too controlling and stopped being a helper and started becoming an overseer. And we don't need an overseer; we need a helper. There are some things that do need to be helped with checks and balances. Uh, the antitrust laws. The antitrust laws are a good thing. That it helps keep the robber barons of the late 18, early 1900s from coming in. That I believe it was Getty that was the one that would come through and build his empire by coming through and shutting down all the gas stations in a town, and then his gas was the only one in town, and just started raising the rates until the market could bear no more, and made a major fortune out of it. The Vanderbilt Cornelius was horrible on that when he was building his rail empire, and the antitrust lawsuits, the antitrust laws are a good concept and a needed concept to keep the robber barons and like that from happening again, the merchant princes. But they need to be very limited in what they're able to do. Coming in and telling you what you can and can't do with your property and how to manufacture things and what you're allowed to sell them for, and being being an overseer is not what they were meant to be. They were meant to be a helper. And this movie actually takes it through the process of being the overseer and helps see that it brings collapse. And right up until the bitter end, that there were characters that were applauding it and saying that it was a good thing. And as life and circumstances were falling down around their ears, that they were telling you that it was a great thing. But they were really cool movies. That, like I said, they weren't terribly well made movies. They're definitely not an action movie. And in moments, you do kind of have to suffer through them, but they were overall pretty good. And I liked the theme of stuff, the theme of the movie, what the movie was saying. I'd kind of like to go back through and hear some of the reviews, reread or listen to some of the reviews, especially in light of the way things are turning out today. It'd be interesting to see what the people had to say about them back in that era. That was Obama era that all that stuff came out. 2011 to 2014. Yeah, that would have been Obama era. So, like I said, it'd be kind of interesting to see what the people had to say about it during that time. On the different news, the IATF and the Rourke, that Rourke character announced that they are continuing the lockdown here. The ECQ with restrictions here in Cebu City, the Tri-Cities, Mandaue, Cebu City, Mandaue, Lapu-Lapu, until the 7th of September. Cindy and I were supposed to go out to a steakhouse that we found, Acacia Steakhouse. So we've done a few posts and such on it, that Facebook posts. I don't think I've ever done a video review on it. I may do it this time. See if I can get some decent footage if we're allowed to go. That after I get done with this, I got a few things that I need to do today. One of them is called the Acacia, and see if I can get reservations and whether or not they'll accept a pregnant person coming into the restaurant. Yeah, the third Friday is her birthday. So we're going to go out for celebrate birthday dinner. And hopefully we can go there. If not, we'll figure it out. But yeah, I hadn't heard much about the the restrictions continuing. And Cindy said she's seen a couple of them. And so I started looking around and I found where to go. And because I'd even done searches on it, and we're finding information about the previous one, the one that's just ending, but not a new one continuing. And surprisingly, there's still not a whole lot of news on it. So I'm kind of wondering if it's going to be more well advertised later in the week, or if I'm just not looking in the right places. I'm hoping that they're going to continue pretending that it's not happening and just do some token efforts, even less. But yeah, it's kind of silly. It's I don't know. that's going down a road I don't really care to go down, but I'll go down for a little bit. I'm going to try and break this up into 4 15-minute topics and just kind of see what happens, see where it goes. Good morning, Mr. Daniel. How you doing today? Or good evening for you, I guess. That you missed the movie review. Didn't miss a whole lot. You can go back and check it out if you want. That out of curiosity, have you ever heard of or read the book or watched the movies Atlas Shrugged? But the quarantine doesn't seem to be too bad. The other day that I went to that Abaca Cafe, that they said no, that they wouldn't be able to serve a pregnant lady even outside. Acacia Steakhouse, their only seating is outside, and you can be well removed and all that good stuff. So I'm hoping that they'll be able to do something with us or for us, and we'll be able to go out. But I would like to take her somewhere for her birthday, but if not, we'll make something here. I did get a chocolate cake to make for her. And I may try to do something for her with her to help celebrate the birthday and just see what goes down. Then I got a couple ideas of something I could kind of do and just see what happens. But I hear her downstairs. I think she's on the phone with family. This last year being on all these silly restrictions and everything else, and they started to open up a little bit better. But about the time they started to open up better is when she was pregnant and having a lot of stuff. Not terribly sure if you'd like the movie. If you have Amazon Prime, you may want to give it a shot to see whether or not it's something. It's a movie I think you would agree with the topic and concept of it, but it can be kind of hard to watch. It's not a terribly great movie. I'll be bluntly honest with that one. But yeah, over the last year, just the lockdowns, the restrictions has turned this trip into, I don't want to say a nightmare, but definitely not an enjoyable trip. In a year, we really haven't gone or done anything, partly due to the lockdowns and such, and partly just due to personal circumstances. Wow. I heard parts of Luzon got shut down still pretty hard. Mama and Papa still can't get out of the condo. We're hoping here the middle of the month they'll be able to come back. But right now, if they come back, they're going to have to do a 2-week quarantine, and they don't want, and we don't want them to have to do that. I heard a couple of messages coming in. I'm expecting a text from a doctor that I called earlier today, or that I messaged earlier today, that trying to get an appointment for an ophthalmologist. That they asked that they won't even let her into grocery stores, and that's part of the issue that I've got is kids aren't allowed out, seniors aren't allowed out. pregnant women aren't allowed out. And I don't know how they would confirm this one, but immunocompromised people are not allowed out. Basically, people that have secondary illnesses and such aren't allowed out. Yeah, it is kind of that. Daniel, yeah, it is kind of. Hank Reardon Steele is the one of the main characters. Uh, it's also about Dagny Talbot was the other main character, and she's in control of a railroad empire. But yeah, it makes an interesting movie. But anyways, these lockdowns have gotten insane, and being carried on as long as they are is hurting a lot of people. Too many. It's hurting way more people than it's helping at this point, and that's part of the problem. That's with a real bad humid and dirt in the air. My sinuses are killing first thing in the morning, and it takes me 15 minutes of blowing nose. And today there was a lot of coughing and hacking trying to get the phlegm and mucus out, so I got a little bit of a sore throat. Uh, yeah, I get what they were trying to do, but it's been over a year. It's been going on 18. It's been going on a year and a half, 18 months or more now. It's not going to get settled this way. It's not going to get solved this way. You need to start reopening stuff. The quarantines and lockdowns obviously are not doing any good in the way that they're being instituted. You can only beat your head against the wall so many times before you realize you need a bigger hammer. And yeah, the people are trying to do the same thing over and over again that didn't work last time. And that's always been the same, the old joke about, how do you, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. But yeah, that these lockdowns and restrictions, that they're not doing any good. They're doing more damage than good. And something different needs to be done. What that different thing is up for debate, but just locking down again and again and again, mask mandates coming back in place and stuff. If it didn't work the first, second, and third time, it's probably not going to work the seventh time. You can try, 15 masks if that's what makes you feel comfortable, but I don't know. The it's an interesting sight here. Yesterday was the first time that I've seen an active checkpoint in the entire month of August, and all they were doing, and I've heard about these elsewhere, but all they were doing is pulling scooters over the motorcycle scooters over, checking their papers and then moving them on. So, what good that was doing, I don't know, but it didn't give them that they were doing something. So, and I think that's all that they're trying to do at this point, is do something to pacify the powers that be. Yes, I finished my coffee. I'm going to. I love Tang here. Believe it or not, that's Apple. But I don't know. I don't think the newest lockdown is going to do any better than the 3-4 previous ones did. And I'm hoping that somebody somewhere is going to finally get that wisdom and understanding that they don't help. So let's figure out something different, better. Vaccines, if you take a vaccine, can still get the illness and, can still spread the illness and everything else that I don't see what benefit the vaccine is other than just doing something. It's not helping you get over an illness that already has a 99 point something survival rate. Oh dear, that's not very good. I'm actually going to the doctor that I was trying to get a hold of is an ophthalmologist. I've had a little spot in my eye that's a little blurry spot that comes and goes, and uh, there's some days it's bad enough it's almost like looking through a frosted window, and there's other days that it's not even there, and it can be anywhere in between. I do have a little bit of discharge and drainage right here. And so, okay, yeah, I guess it's time to go see an ophthalmologist. Hopefully, it's nothing major. I'm assuming it's just an infection. And I'm thinking the infection is probably about at least a year old. Uh, it wasn't bad up until here the last 3, 4 months. And it it's gotten bad enough to where I've frequently got like the sleep in your eyes that I'll get that throughout the day even. And some days it's bad enough, like I say, that it's clouded over almost like you'd have cataracts. But no, it's not a cataract because cataract would never improve. That they only get better until you get them corrected. And this is our Philippines. That's exactly part of the problem is that if you need a 6 month booster to it, it's probably not a great vaccine. Uh, and they're talking about 6 month boosters uh, to deal with the extra, the new and emerging variants. Now, COVID-19 is actually a variant of SARS from back 2001. And that's Daniel. That's actually who I found out. The article that I was able to find is from that Cebu Daily News. Uh, but yeah, a couple days ago when she said it that they were extending it, that I searched and wasn't able to find anything other than articles relating to the one that's just ended. Last night I was able to find a lot more articles on it. So whether or not it was just a matter of a couple days to get in the search engines, or if it I was able, just use better search terms or what, I don't know. But, yeah, from it's setting in the humid, there's quite a bit of water on the bottle. Now I thought we were under GCQ with heightened restrictions. I don't know. ECQ, GCQ, MECQ, yeah, EBBQ. But it I don't know. It's getting kind of silly on that. But I'm hoping that this stuff does finally start going away a little bit, and the powers that be do start recognizing a little bit better. The other thing I did is I did an order for Lazada to get some seed trays that for whatever reason, flowers, like chrysanthemums and stuff like that, you can't find here, or I'm not finding it. Let me put it that way. A couple people have recommended going up into the mountains of Busai, which is only about an hour from here, and I may still wind up doing that. I did manage to find seeds at one of the stores, but didn't find any seed trays or anything like that. And so with Lazada, I was able to find some seed trays, but they're going to be a couple weeks getting here. And what I started looking at as we were throwing away the other day is the egg cartons. Did we buy our eggs in a 30 egg flat, I think? Yeah, they buy them a 30 egg flat. And so they're the paper mache type cartons, the paper cartons. And so I started looking at it and thinking about it. So I cut them down into five of the 6-hole cartons and use those as seed trays. And so here, and it's not actual potting soil, but I did find some what they call black soil that they use as potting soil. Not exactly the greatest stuff, but it seems to work. And a week or two ago, I put some in there. I'm hoping, Daniel, but it's not looking good. But I found a smaller pot, probably a 4-inch round pot, and used that soil and planted some, and they sprouted pretty decently. So I gave that a shot, and I took some photos of them in it. I think starting Thursday, I'm going to start using the Streamlabs. I basically got it right. Daniel helped me out the other day when he was going up to the parade, and I saw what I need to do, and now I just need to fix it, fix a couple things to tweak it a little bit to hopefully get it a little bit better. Because I frequently have crap that I want to pick out and show. But yeah, that's what I did with the egg crates. And I just planted them today. I've got some photos, some of the different angled photos and stuff. And so I'm just going to start taking a photo a day in the mornings and string them together as a time lapse and see what it looks like. But the garden out front is coming along pretty decently. I managed to get everything, all the grass that I wanted dug out, and I'm keeping it down. Like I say, I've got some of the black soil that they're calling it. It's basically topsoil, but it's not terribly well filtered, not terribly well filtered. And I thought about getting a screen or something to help filter it, but I'm probably not going to do that. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I do have some. I got a couple of small tea roses, the miniature roses, that I'm going to dig out and plant in there. And if any of you guys have any tips on transplanting the tea roses, let me know, because I've never had a whole lot of luck transplanting those. But there again, I was trying to garden in Arizona where it's insanely hot and you need to shade plants, and so that you don't kill them, and then water the snot out of everything. Arizona is actually kind of hard to garden in if you don't know what you're doing. And because of that, the only thing I've ever had any luck with or dealt with much was they call it xeriscaping, XERA scaping for extremely low water use plants and such like that. But and plants like that tend to be rather hardy, so they're not quite as hard to kill when you transplant them. We've got an area that when I first bought the house back in 2012, there was a small wooden place set there that I donated to the church I was going to at the time. And then they kind of sort of had grass growing there, but it was not good by any stretch of the imagination. And I am thinking really hard about when we go back to take that area, level it out, break some sand base in to level it out a little bit more, and then just put artificial turf on top of it and deal with it that way. I like the idea of artificial turf, especially in Arizona, because you don't need to water it, you don't need to cut it, you don't need to do anything with it. It looks a lot better and nicer there all the time. About every 10 years, you've got to pull it out and clean it. Jojo, welcome to the video today. Yes, they have an extremely dry community area there, climate there. That single-digit humidity is not at all uncommon. People start complaining it is insanely humid when it reaches 40 and 50% humidity. But on top of that, they also have some insanely high temperatures. The high for Phoenix has been 122. I believe, and that's what I'm trying to do here real quick. Yeah, that's 50 degrees Celsius. So 122 is either 50 Celsius or 122 Fahrenheit. I'm not sure which would be more understandable for you, but it's insanely hot. 43 or 110 is pretty common temperatures for 60 to 80 days a year. Okay, you're in Georgia, so you know Fahrenheit pretty well. Knowing that I got people from all over that watch this, that I when I talk about anything that's measured stuff, I try to real quick convert. Again, there's an app for that. Yeah, Georgia is a lot closer to the Philippine climate for part of the year. And that people back in the U.S. would always ask, "What's the Philippines like?" And I kind of tongue in cheek tell them, that if you've been through a Florida summer, it's kind of like that, but year round. And so I never minded a Florida summer. And I can deal with a Florida summer way better than I can an Arizona summer. When you start getting, 110 degrees, 115 degrees with 5 and 7% humidity, 10% humidity, there is no escaping from that. The air temperature is just so insanely hot and dry. It's not that you don't sweat, but it evaporates faster than it can do any good. That it doesn't cool you at all. You try to ride a motorcycle or something like that. It's like, the wind over there is like a hair dryer. That I rode a Harley Davidson Ultra Classic, the big touring bike for years. And during the summer, even with that fairing on it, and the fairing is a big part of what helped. that it was like riding into a hairdryer the entire time. Oh, okay. But I've only been in that area a few times. But yeah, those Blue Ridge Mountains and that are friggin' gorgeous. The Smoky Mountains. I've been to a few times. I've been through more than two, and it is just absolutely gorgeous. Actually, this is our Philippines is from Georgia, but I think he's actually more from the Georgia, Louisiana area, Florida area. I've made a couple jokes about Cajuns, and he made comment that he's got some in the family tree. Uh, but yeah, that now, Jojo, have you been to the Philippines yet? I think you said you have. I know. I read your comment the other day, this morning. I think. Uh, as you get more with this, that you'll find I have an insanely horrible memory. I know that name. I know where that's at, but I'm just not. It's not clicking in my memory right now. I think that's down by where Tom and Ruth are. Tom and Ruth, Philippines. Uh, they're just out of Malaybalay, down by Valencia area. Maramig. Here we go, Maramig. That's So are you coming? Have you guys got any plans on coming back anytime? Oh. They just went back to the U.S. Lumpia Life. There we go. Kevin and his wife. I can't think of his wife's name. That they were from there. That's where I know uh, Nasipit from. Oh, okay. And another person you might want to check out. He doesn't post terribly commonly. Phil and some Joe. That they're in. I believe they're actually in Nasipit. They were in Butuan for a while and went over to Nasipit. That he's trying to do a rest Carinderia restaurant eatery there with his wife. Jojo, you ain't lying there. Here's a phrase for you. Naingum paka. It's you can say that again. Uh, I'm trying to do geography there, Steve. Okay, yeah, you're right. Okay. Alabama and Georgia, I frequently get backwards. I'm sorry. That Georgia doesn't border Louisiana. Alabama borders Louisiana. Okay, my bad. I am very sorry about that. I misspoke. Thank you for correcting me. Uh, Georgia borders the Atlantic. Alabama borders Louisiana. Okay, and Georgia and Florida and the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, the days I don't have my secretary with me, I got to do all the memory on my own. That uh, there's actually an app for that. I do use that quite a bit. I found out the Facebook page. I can take notes on the people that send messages and stuff like that. The different subscribers, like the people that subscribe to the Facebook page, I can actually take notes and such. So, Jojo, how far are you from Fayetteville? That Cindy's brother and his girlfriend, fiance, are school teachers. That they're in Fayetteville this year, so they may be kind of close to you. Actually, Daniel, I can kind of answer that one a little bit. That that area's got, like most of Mindanao, a way worse reputation than it deserves. Not saying it doesn't happen and can't happen, but there's a fair amount of loggers over in that area. Not a huge amount. No, nowhere near like Dumaguete or some of the others, towns have. But there's a fair amount of loggers in that area. Even from the smaller towns that are great. There's a channel. This is our Mindanao Dream or our Mindanao Dream or something like that. That's from a town, Bislig City. That's over on the Pacific side of and it's again like most everything in the Philippines. It's a coastal town over on the Pacific side of Mindanao. There's a couple of people that I know that are over in towns outside of Davao. My sister has a real good friend that's over in Cotabato. That the Lumpia Life just spent about a year there. Am I that screwed up on my geography of that area? I'm normally better on stuff like that, but obviously I'm dropping the ball horribly today. But, you're gonna have to excuse me for a minute. I gotta. There we go. So you guys don't. You guys really. There's just a tiny bit of. You don't border Louisiana at all, do you? Good grief! I'm horrible on that. I'm sorry. I completely forgot about Mississippi in there. It's Mississippi that borders Louisiana. Okay. that Yeah, high school and college football are definitely a pastime in that area in the South in general. But yeah, yeah. This is our Philippines. I screwed that one up horribly. I completely forgot about Mississippi over there. Okay, yeah, that I got that one horrible. Normally my geography sense of geography is not bad, but yeah, I screwed that southeast area up all together today. I had Alabama over where Louisiana, where Mississippi was, and I completely forgot about the entire state of Mississippi. And yeah, anyways, the, I mean, I have a great memory, but I have really good resources, and there's an app for that. uh, Kulas, becoming Filipino, went over in that area a while ago. It hadn't been a year or more ago because it was before all the lockdowns and crap. That he was invited over by some people that he knows or knows of, and went to go over there, but did the smart thing and got with the local government units, and I guess got with the whatever province is over there government, and they said, yeah, come on over, but we're going to send a security detail with you. And so that they had a squad of PMP that went everywhere with him. But and he actually did videos and incorporated them into the videos and showed that it's, yeah, if you're going, you probably should let people know and accept what they're going to help you with, and accept it that it's help, not keeping an eye on you, but keeping an eye on you. Uh, and yeah, I wouldn't travel much past CDO in that direction without uh, somebody local that's with you. Uh, and again, it's like any place else here in the Philippines. Use your common sense, be aware of your surroundings, and this place isn't that bad. Uh, I feel safer here than I do in South Phoenix. Uh, but again, the same as when I do have to go down to the South Phoenix, I use my head. I don't wander places that I know I shouldn't be, and I kind of scope things out before I head down there. If I'm with friends or people I know from that area, I, I I've got no problem with going anywhere in there. And my sister has some friends over in that Butuan area that I could hook up with. Joe and some Philly is in that area that we could hook up with. Uh, Matter of fact, Butuan City, back in February, uh, that I was seeing an orthopedic surgeon for a back issue that I've got, and I'm slightly claustrophobic. So being in an MRI for 15 minutes while they do an MRI of the back is not doable. Back in Phoenix, when I had to have one done, that they saw that, and what they had me do is they had me lay down. They tried it the right way first, and it didn't work. And the tech was really good and had me lay down backwards. And so he put me in feet first, so my head was out, so I was okay. Did the MRI that way and was somehow able to invert the image. When the orthodox said that it was going to be about an hour-long MRI. No, no way. And he said the nearest open MRI is in Butuan City. That he could give me a referral if need be, but he'd kind of like to see a new MRI. But the travel down there and back, it just got stupid. And it was about that time we found out Cindy was pregnant. And so no, but unfortunately going down to get one didn't happen. Although here after things lessen up, less restrictions, I've got to go into an oral surgeon to have a tooth pulled, that a crown fell off and the tooth is broken underneath. So they can't reattach the crown. I was half-heartedly thinking about joking around and seeing if we could do an MRI while they had me out for the tooth. See if I can do three things all done at once. Now, I don't have a problem wandering in better areas here in Cebu at night. Most of this neighborhood, I would feel comfortable walking in, going out to a major street. On any of the major streets, I would be okay with. There's been a few times that we've stayed up in hotels near Ayala Mall, and I never had a problem walking the streets near Ayala Mall at night. I would stay out of the local side streets, but any of the major streets, I had no problem with it 24 hours a day. But yeah, safety here is the same as anywhere else. Use your common sense, except that you probably don't speak the language terribly well, and realize that is going to be a little bit of an issue trying to get back in some areas. Yeah, this is several Philippines. That football is insanely popular down there. That my Cajun buddy Rick, obviously the New Orleans Saints, and I can't remember the college team that he's insane for, but yeah, that if you ask him, that's the best college football team in the nation. So, and a friend of my brother-in-law from Ohio, that of course Ohio State's the best. And yeah, that there's definitely some pockets that football is a tad bit more than a pastime. Okay, Daniel, you're gonna have to excuse me on this one. I'm showing my lack of local knowledge at this point. Is there still Canadian football? I knew CFL was a thing for a while, but I didn't realize that there was I didn't realize that they were still going. Haven't been to Atlanta in a long time, or Chicago in a long time for that matter. But yeah, I definitely, Jojo, I definitely understand what you're talking about on that. That most major cities in the U.S., especially the more liberal cities, uh, yeah, I would be terrified of walking at night pretty much anywhere in the city. You couldn't pay me to be out on the streets after dark in New York City, even with somebody that's local. But even places like Buffalo and Boston and some of these other smaller, uh, very liberal cities, I would not be out on the streets after dark in either. Uh, Chicago, they have more people killed daily from from violence than they do COVID. So uh, I don't know. That at this point, for various reasons, partly financially, partly uh, just getting stuff done back in the States, that after Pumpkin gets her both passports, that we're going to head back to the States probably 3 to 5 years, coming here 30 to 90 days a year. That I've got the 13A visa, so I need to be back and do my hey, hang on, people. This one's actually an important call. Hello? Where are you? Hey, hang on, people. What city are you in? Hang on. Hey, girl. Can you get this call? My most sincere apologies about that. Uh, I ordered some stuff from Lazada, and this was my fault that I didn't check it as I ordered it, and it wound up being delivered to Sabunga, not here. And I tried Lazada, I tried the delivery service, and neither one of them would accept an updated address. So I think the gentleman is in Sabunga, not Cebu City. So we're gonna have to tell him it doesn't go there; it comes here, and your company is the one that wouldn't correct it. So, anyways, that and I see I'm actually a little over an hour today. Yeah, Jojo, the pretty much anywhere in California, and yeah, the left coast, the Pacific coast, is beyond salvation liberal, and shy of them suffering the fate of their own consequences and beginning to realize it, which I think some areas are starting to, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what to do on those. That there's no way. I don't even like going to visit California at this point because of it. Although I've got a sister and some friends that are up in the Seattle area, north of Seattle. I'd kind of like to head up there, and assuming we're able to go up there when we go back for a little bit, may come up to Daniel's place if he's still in Canada when we're up there. Just check that out. That Mom and Pop are talking about going back with us still, and now it's just talking. That we're not terribly sure. That some family issues that came up, and so time will tell on that one. But if they go with us, it's going to make it a little bit harder because they'll be there on green card. I mean, tourist visa. So getting in and out might be a little bit more challenge for them. But now that Cindy Pumpkin and I will be, our all-American citizens running over the border to Canada, would not be a big deal. And so I think Cindy would really enjoy seeing that area as well. So uh, we're just gonna play it by ear, see what goes on with that one, because we've also kind of tongue in cheek or however you want to say it, just kind of explored or tossed around the idea that her family, like I say, her brother and I guess fiance, that they're planning on getting married this winter back there, are in Fayetteville teaching. And so, especially if Mama Papa go with us, there's a chance we may go to Fayetteville for a few months and just see what goes on there. So there's a lot that can develop between now and then, and at this point they're talking about needing vaccines to get back in the States. So I don't know. That a lot of that stuff's going to start coming a little bit more clear after the first of the year, I think. But I did notice that it actually is getting to be a little bit over an hour, and I do try to keep these down to an hour. I've seen some people that have these that go on for 2-3 hours, and the right time, the right topic. Yeah, I could see that being a little bit more interesting. But out of respect for people's time, especially the people that are being, that are regular here, I try to keep these down to an hour, never more than 90 minutes. Typically, about an hour and 15, which we're approaching here real quick, is the max. I don't know if we've ever went over an hour and 15. I know we've never went over 90 minutes. But for today, from Cebu City in Tocha Plaza, mabuhay.